I've been having adventures in the cold Arctic regions for over 30 years, from Greenland to Antarctica, but a friend of mine from the Netherlands called Henk-Jan Heel is a true expert and indeed a certified polar guide, having led many an expedition through his trekking company arcticadventure.nl. So in this video, he's going to help me learn more about the gear and clothing that he takes when he's on an adventure in the frozen wilderness. So let's wrap up warm and get out there in the cold. Henk-Jan, thank you so much for taking time out to show me all your equipment that you take when you go on an Arctic adventure. And I was thinking today when I was driving, I think we met about 18 years ago.
Yeah.
When you were doing an expedition on Greenland and I was filming it for a TV series. 18 years has passed.
It's a long time, Kevin.
Ain't crazy.
Yeah. It's been a nice ride, definitely. Yeah.
And what I love about you is that you turned your hobby into your work, into passion. Tell me about what you do.
Well, I'm a polar guide. I'm an expedition leader. I'm part of the International Polar Guide Association, IPGA. And I take, average normal people out into the Arctic to have an amazing time in snow. Just playing around in the snow, actually. That's how I earn my money.
Obviously, we're going to talk about the gear, but you've worked in all kinds of Arctic locations. Am I correct in saying how many times you crossed Greenland?
I've crossed Greenland 3 times now. I've been to, the polar region in Sweden, Norway quite often. Actually, I came back last week. I will go back next week. I've been to Antarctica. So I've worked on different polar regions in the world.
So Henk-Jan, thank you for bringing all of your equipment here today. Mm-hmm. Where should we start?
Well, the question I got asked most is, I don't like the cold, or I'm always cold, so how can I dress up? So I think the best way to start today is to talk about the clothing I bring. And then later on, I'll get into the nitty-gritty details about navigation, communication, what do I bring inside the tent, how do I sleep, how do I set up my kitchen, what kind of different kind of skis are there. So we will cover all of that within this video, but let's dive into clothing. So first of all, the important thing is layers, layers, layers. So if you want to keep warm in the cold, dress up in layers, but you don't want to become too warm. So the thing they say in the Arctic is when you sweat, you're dead. You do not want to sweat. So the thing is, you always sweat. When you're walking, you're always sweating. So the sweat needs to evaporate from your body. But what I start off with is a shirt. A shirt like this. And I like this shirt a lot. Actually, this shirt is just as old as our relationship. It goes back 17 years ago, definitely. It's so if you invest in really good gear, it will last you more or less a lifetime. The only thing which is broken here is the small zipper, which I replaced with a little drawing.
I hope you've washed it since we first met.
Yeah, I think it's fresh. I washed it, but I still use it. So the good thing about this one is long sleeves and the zipper in the neck. I like the zipper in the neck because you can regulate your heat. If you zip it up, there are 2 big arteries going through your neck. A lot of heat is getting out of there. So if you zip up, you retain this heat, and if you're getting warm, just open up. So if you have undergarment with long arms, take it with a zipper. And this is, it's Skin 200 from, this brand is Icebreaker, but it's not that thick. If you can almost see through this. So,
and that's merino wool then, I guess.
It is merino wool, yeah, and it won't smell that much. Although I do need to put it into the washing machine when I get home because my wife, she won't let me wear it at home. So this is one. Part 2 is a sweater, but also a sweater with long sleeves. It's a little bit thicker than part 1. but definitely, again, with a zipper in the neck. So this is what I wear, and I've worn this now for, well, many years. There are a few holes in there, but still it functions really good. So no need to buy a new one yet. On most of my trips, I think if you go into Celsius until minus 10, minus 15 degrees Celsius, this is what I wear on my body. And at the end, I'll just put on a jacket like this.
Yeah, because I guess if you're moving, you're generating heat, and if you're blocking the wind with the Gore-Tex outer,
That's it.
you're creating this microclimate, you know, as long as you're moving.
Yeah, that's it. This retains the heat, and this prevents the wind from blowing the heat which you have on your body. This prevents it from blowing it away. There is no thermal ice insulation in the jacket itself, so it's just I think this is 2 or maybe 3 layer Gore-Tex, but at least this blocks the wind. Some persons, they really like cotton, which is also nice as an outer layer, not as the first base layer, because it retains a lot of moisture, but really thick woven cotton, as long as it keeps the wind out. So just a jacket like this is perfect. You can regulate with zippers under the arm, and when it's cold, just, well, of course, close your zipper, and when it's warm, just open your zipper. Get away of your sweat.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. What you could do, what I most of the time do, is take a piece of extra cord and put it on the zippers. So also when you're wearing gloves, you can still handle your zippers with gloves on. So this is number 3. On cold days, or when I'm in the tent, I have a vest like this one. So this is even thicker than
The green one?
the green one. And this vest I like a lot. Normally I wear medium, but this vest is large, so it can go over all my other clothing, and it's, again, it just retains the heat. Over the vest I wear a jacket.
So that would be if it's extremely cold.
If it's extremely cold, say when you're moving in the morning, the sun just comes up at the horizon like 6 o'clock in the morning, that's the coldest part of the day. Most of the time I would wear those 3 layers, including my jacket. On Greenland once, I even put on a down jacket for the first 2 hours of moving. It was just extremely cold, like minus 30 degrees Celsius. But also in the tent, when I'm sitting still, I'll probably take out this jacket. It won't blow in the tent, so I'll take out this jacket. I put on a pair, this, well, woolen sweater. And during breaks, because we're not moving constantly, I'll put on a down jacket. And the thing with a down jacket is just don't take off your normal jacket, but put your down jacket over this jacket. So the heat you retain inside of your Gore-Tex jacket, or whatever Tex it is called, jacket, it won't move away. Just put your down jacket over it, and at the end of the break, take off your jacket.
That's good advice, because normally you would never put a down jacket on top of a Gore-Tex jacket, because most people spend more time in the rain than they would do in the Arctic environment. And of course that would be crazy to do that. But like you say, keep your Gore-Tex on.
Yeah, definitely.
On a break, and then just put your heavy down jacket on top.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And my down jacket is extra large, so my normal clothing is medium, my jacket is large, my down jacket is extra large, so it just can go over on top of all my clothing. And I'd say breaks, what I do in Arctic travel is 1 hour of traveling, 10-minute break. 1 hour traveling, 10-minute break. And during this 10-minute break, we're gonna eat something, drink something, change some clothing if needed, do toiletries, and then we continue. And I see the further we go into an expedition, the more routine we have. So this 10-minute break can go down to 4 minutes, or maybe even 3 if you're really fast. So, and if the break is small and fast, you don't need to put on your down jacket. You can just eat, drink, and before you cool down, you're gonna move again.
Yeah.
So this is the torso, but I still have some legs. Yeah, I do. I start with normal underwear. So I wear boxer shorts, do whatever you prefer. I like boxer shorts because the elastic band doesn't,
Rub in your crotch.
yeah, it doesn't rub anywhere. So that's nice. Again, long johns, like these. The same thickness as the sweater or the shirt I'm wearing. So these long johns, and over the long johns, I wear a pair of trousers, obviously. I wear these trousers. I have a couple of trousers, so sometimes I wear these and sometimes I wear other trousers. But what I think is important for Arctic trousers is that they are baggy, so they're wide. Because if they're really tight, you can't retain any air. So make them baggy, so there's air in between your trousers and your leg, and that will isolate. These trousers, they are windproof. Again, there's no isolation whatsoever inside. What I do like about these is that they have knee pads. A lot of times I sit on my knees, so there are knee pads in there. So when I sit on my knees, I'll just don't touch the snow, but there's insulation. There's a zipper along the leg. So on this side, what I don't like about these trousers is the enormous amount of Velcro, because it's annoying when you're in the cold opening up the Velcro to open up the zipper to go for a shit. So that's kind of, shitty. So if somebody of Bergens is listening, please fix your gear. What I do like are these. How do you call them, Kevin?
Braces.
Braces, thank you. Because that way my trousers can be really baggy and they're still hanging on my shoulders. Normally I put a multi-tool in my trousers. I'll put some snacks in one of the pockets. I'll put my compass somewhere. So they're quite heavy, but I don't feel it because they're just hanging on my shoulders. Yeah, so salop pads, I think they call them. They're quite high.
Yeah.
And I like them. I have them now for, I think, 2 seasons. So
yeah, they look really well used.
They're almost done. So torso, legs. Shall we go down to the feet then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, I wear socks. I started with a small pair of socks. It could be thin socks like these, but sometimes I also wear really thin socks, just like these. And the trick here is
stripy ones.
Yeah, always stripy ones. And the thing is, over these socks, I wear a plastic bag. And after the plastic bag, I'll put on a pair of thicker socks. The thing with the plastic bag, they also call it the vapor barrier liner, but it's more or less a plastic bag. The thing is that all your sweat keeps inside the plastic bag, so it won't go to your next pair of socks, and it will definitely not come into your boots. So the good thing about that is that your boots, they stay dry, also overnight when it's like -20, -25 degrees. They won't freeze. They're getting cold, but they won't freeze because they're not moist, they're not wet. And these plastic bags, they last for about, if you take a little bit care of them, they last about 4 or 5 days. So take a couple, and that will save you really cold feet in the morning, and it makes it possible to get inside your shoes. In the tent itself, I have an extra pair of socks, because the socks I wear first, they're obviously getting a little bit wet, moist from your humidity. I take them out. Don't throw them away in the corner of your tent, because if you throw them away like these, they will get frozen like this. So what I do is just put them on my shoulders, like here. Keep them warm. And during the evening, I'll just bring them inside my sleeping bag to dry, and the next morning I can wear them again. Let's see if I can get them out. And if you're a lady, you're lucky, because then probably you have a bra, you can put them under your bra so they won't fall off. So, oh yeah, in the tent, let's see. In the tent, I normally wear a pair of, in Dutch we say sloffen, huttesloffen.
Like slippers, like hut shoes.
Yeah, hut shoes. I got them over here. I'll just show them to you. Oh, at the other end, I have everything prepared. So, these are my hut shoes. The good thing with these is that I can walk outside the tent. There's no profile on the bottom, so when I walk through the snow, snow won't get attached to my shoes, so I won't bring any snow inside the tent. If I walk through the snow and the snow comes up to here, it's fine because no snow will fall into my shoes. So yeah, I like them a lot. They've been on many expeditions. I think I've got them now like 10 years. Yeah, really nice.
So what's the next thing you'd take on your essential list for Arctic adventure travel?
Well, the next thing is hands. Take care of your hands. During the days, I'm wearing mitts, and I always hated this, but my mother did it. But nowadays they're handy. Put a piece of string on your mitts. The good thing about mitts is that while traveling, like this, your fingers, they stay together. So your fingers are keeping themselves warm. And if you get a cold thumb, just slide your thumb next to your mitts. And inside the mitts, I have these, like 2 pairs of gloves, woolen gloves. And the good thing with 2 pair is that you can combine. If it's colder, just put 2 gloves in there. If it's warmer, just take 1 glove out. And during the evening, one of these gloves can go into my sleeping bag to dry. During the evening, when we set up camp, I need my fingers. So then I have gloves like these. The good thing with these gloves is that any snow will just fall off. So don't take fleece gloves because they will attach snow, will get attached to it. That will melt and that will give you cold fingers. And the nice thing with this is that I can also take out the inner glove. So if this is wet, I'll just bring it inside my sleeping bag to dry. What I also like are these for my wrist warmers. And there are also arteries in your wrist, so if you keep your wrist warm, you can still function and work with your fingers. So inside the tent, I always have these on, but also during the day, I have my wrist warmers and just slide into my glove like this. So these, they always come on my trips. So that's the part for gloves. So we still need the face. Well, I already told about those arteries. So what I always bring is a buff like this. And the good thing with a buff is you can just wear it around your neck if it's getting colder. To do something like this, of course, you need a hat. And when I choose a hat, make sure they go over your ears, because if you have a fancy hat like this, looks really nice in the city, but you will get cold ears. So have a hat like this, put it over the ears, and if it's really nasty weather, just do like this. And now more or less you have a balaclava. So with 2 pieces of kit, just make the combination. Remember though that once you start breathing out, this will become icy. So what I do is I just bring a second buff. So what you could do is put that one over your nose if needed. This one over here. So you breathe out of your mouth, your nose is protected, your eyes are there, but of course you need
Glasses or goggles.
glasses. Don't make any pictures because it looks terrible, but this way you're really good protected against wind.
Have you ever tried to go into a bank dressed like that?
I don't think they will allow me. Yeah. So make combinations of your kit. Don't think about, okay, this I can use for just one purpose, but make it useful for multiple purposes. So a buff and a hat are really handy. When it's blowing, make sure you have goggles. Goggles like this, it prevents wind coming into your eyes, but it definitely prevents snow particles blowing into your eyes. And I just made this nose piece. It's from a little bit of, well, a piece of a kite, so really thin piece of cloth. Just glued it on for my Greenland expeditions, because a lot of times it's sunny, and this just puts shade on my nose. Otherwise I'll just have a burned nose.
I think there's something I learned from you when I filmed you for your Greenland expedition, is that you've got lots of different manufacturers, and obviously, you know, you use a lot of RAB gear. I mean, we're here at a RAB store, but you modify stuff, you adapt, you change, you cut, you know, you're not afraid to get your scissors and your sewing needle out and change stuff. And I guess that's good advice.
Yeah, I think so. I think every time I get a new piece of equipment, I just look at it and think, okay, how can this be better? And for example, one stupid example, even these boots, I love these boots. They're from Lundhags in Sweden. But even these boots, I made a small modification, and it's in here. This, I made a knot in the middle of my shoelaces, and it prevents the shoelace from going further than this, well, ring over there. Because what I hate is that after a couple of days, one of the shoelaces is really long and the other one is short, and I don't want to fiddle around without my gloves on when it's -20. I just want it to be there. So now the shoelace, the knot is in the middle, meaning...
But that's good advice, because that happens...
The laces are just as long.
That happens with regular hiking boots.
I know.
Now I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
That always happens. It's like, who is changing the length of my shoelaces in the middle of the night?
Yourself, yeah.
Little gremlins coming into the tent.
But even those tiny details, they, it comes in handy.
Yeah, I guess when you're working in an Arctic environment, anything that reduces exposure of skin, i.e. your hands, is game changing, because in the worst case scenario you could end up losing your fingers.
Sure.
So anything that helps you reduce the need to take your gloves off unnecessarily, it's got to be a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. So if you have zippers, just make extra cord on your zippers so you can work with your gloves on. Also, the bindings of your skis, make sure you can work with them with your gloves on, or keep your skis on your feet. And sure, that needs practice, but you'll get there, definitely.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So when I travel in the Arctic, of course, I'll take a pulk, depending on what kind of environment or what kind of expedition. I have different kinds of pulks. For this purpose, I just took my most, cheapest pulk there is. So I think this is less than 100 euros. You can buy them online, and I think it's a really convenient, nice pulk for anyone who wants to go winter camping, to start off with a pulk like this. And what I do on a pulk is, I'm just gonna have a look where my bag is. Yeah, there. I have 2 bags on my pulk. One bag, I'll just fill it up so you get the points. So more or less, if you look at this right now, this is the setup. I have a small bag and I have a big bag. The small bag, I call it my tent bag, and the big bag is the pulk bag. The tent bag, I pack it with everything I need during the evening and during the night in my tent. On top of this, there will be my Arctic bedding, which I will show to you later. In the Arctic bedding, there's my whole sleeping setup. But inside this tent bag, what do I bring? A thermos bottle, my first aid kit is in there, a spoon for dinner, my dinner itself is in there. So anything which I need inside the tent is in the small bag. What is in the big bag? My ropes, my crampons. I don't need crampons in my tent while sleeping. All the excess food for the rest of the expedition, I don't need it. The repair kit, it's in there as long as we don't need it. And the good thing with a small bag like this is, if you're sleeping with 3 partners in the tent, and everybody brings a small bag, you still have place for your sleeping bag and a place to sleep. So this is how I separate. It does need some thinking, because if you are getting into your tent, getting dressed to go to bed, taking off your boots, you don't want to think, all right, my something I need, like a pillow or so, it's in my pool bag. That's quite annoying.
Yeah, the worst thing you want to do is get out when it's minus 25 in a snow blizzard.
You don't want to
get something. No,
you don't want to get out. And I've been there, don't worry. So this is the Arctic bedding, and obviously with straps, I strap this on top of my pulk, and the Arctic bedding will lay on top of my pulk, and then.
So this is on the top.
It's on the top of my pulk, attached with straps, if I can find my strap. Like this, I have 4 straps. So this is on top of my pulk, and on this part, with a harness, I'll drag my pulk over the snow. This prevents me from, during the day, to access my pulk bag and my tent bag. So with this Arctic bedding, the good thing is there's a big zipper, so the thermos bottle for drinking is on top. I even marked it, drinks, so if I ask anybody of my partners, could you please get my drink? As long as they can read, they can see this. There's one part for communication equipment, and there's one part for food. Talking about a little bit about food, the food I eat a lot during the day are nuts. And I always carry them in a small Nalgene bottle, something like this. And the good thing with this bottle is that even with mittens on, I can open it, and then just throw the nuts in my face instead of throwing them first in your hand and then in your mouth. Just directly eat out of the bottle.
That is really good. I mean, I was thinking just putting them in Ziploc bags.
You can't open Ziplocs. No, you can't open that. You can't open Ziplocs with this. So then you have to expose your hand. Open a Ziploc when it's minus 25 degrees. You don't want to do that. This is what you want to do. You switch upon a. Here, you just want to open the zipper, and you see I made strings on the zipper. Open the zipper, get the bottle out, and eat. And this you can also close, of course, with your gloves on.
That's fantastic. That's very, very simple. I've got like 10 of those lying at home. So
use them. It's really convenient. And eat a lot of nuts together with small berries. That gives you a lot of energy. So this is what I have during the day. My down jacket will be in here, just on top of my sleeping bag. And during the evening, when the tent is set, I'll just drag the whole Arctic bedding inside the tent, and the only thing I have to do is open it up, just like this.
And get in.
More or less, yeah. So this is my sleeping setup. I have a pair of down trousers. Most of the time in the tent, it's I take off my normal trousers, put on some down trousers. So the down trousers are with my sleeping bag, because I only need them when the sleeping bag is out there. The sleeping bag is there, and I have 2 mattresses, like an inflatable mattress and a non-inflatable mattress. I can be quite clumsy, so I have broken multiple inflatable mattresses.
Who hasn't?
I don't know, but I have. So when this is broken, of course, most of the time you can do a field repair, but if the shit hits the fan, you can't do a field repair, then at least I got a foam mattress. And in my opinion, insulation is calculated with R value. So if this is the R value of, like, say 3, and this is R value of, I don't know, 5, combined it should be 8. I think it's at least 9 or 10. It should be higher than that. Anyway, sleeping bag, ready to get in. My pillow,
essential,
definitely.
And then this sleeping bag, what fill power is it? 1,000, 1,200?
Good question.
Oh, I've got you.
Yeah, you definitely got.
Well, it's at least 1,000, isn't it?
Well, the thing
Oh,
is,
hang on a minute. There it is. 800.
800. Okay, perfect. I always check specifics for the gear when I buy it, and after that I just forget all about it because I don't need the fill power knowledge. I need to know where is my zipper. I don't need to know what kind of fill power is there because this is the only sleeping bag I've got. But it's the Andaz 800, so probably eats 800 grams of down. Well, this is rated until minus 25, well, comfortable, and it's well, it's a good sleeping bag.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, what do you need for a warm night? It's not only your sleeping bag, but you need good food before you get into your sleeping bag. Go for a pee before you get into your sleeping bag. Do a little bit of exercise. Don't start to sweat, but become warm and then go into your sleeping bag. I always wear a hat and a buff in my sleeping bag because nothing is exposed except of, well, more or less your head. So wear a hat and a buff and breathe outside of your sleeping bag. Don't breathe into your sleeping bag. It's nice and warm the first 5 minutes, but then a lot of moist builds up in your sleeping bag. It's getting colder. So breathe outside, exercise, go for a pee. And if you wake up in the middle of the night, need to go for a pee, do it. Just go out there, do your thing.
Yeah, get it done. Because you won't sleep properly otherwise. You'll be always uncomfortable.
Terrible.
And then by the time you've been awake for 2 hours thinking I need to pee, it's time to get up. So I totally agree. Just get out and just
get out,
get it done.
And hopefully, by the way you get out, by the time you get out, you see the Northern Lights. So, hey, yeah, definitely.
This
nice.
system is really good. I mean, I was aware of this system, this Arctic bedding system, and the fact that you don't put everything away in stuff sacks that you would normally do on a hike. But actually seeing it laid out here on the table is really useful.
Yeah, it is. It is. So there you go. Well, this one also has a really big pocket in here, so most of the time my gloves are in there. Small items which I could need during the day, clothing items, my my visor. This one is most of the time in here, so I can grab it when I need it. Bam! Let's put it over there.
I mean, what I'm learning from you, and I've worked in quite a few cold countries myself, also Greenland, and lots of Arctic regions like Sweden, Norway. But what I'm learning from you is organisation is absolutely key, and modification is also very important. You know, like we said, don't be afraid to get your scissors out and a bit of sewing. You know, modify stuff that works for you. You know, think how you can improve it. But organisation seems to be absolutely essential because, as you said, you do not want to be taking your gloves off and messing around for 2 minutes because of poor organisation.
No, that's true. You need to organize. And also for me, it always takes a couple of days to get into the system. So if I've not been on a trip like in summertime and autumn, but when I start my trips in wintertime again, it takes me like 2 days to get into my system again.
Okay, fantastic. And what else have we got on the table? We're nearly there.
Well, I still have a kitchen to tell you, or shall I go? Well, let's first tell what's on the table.
Yeah, let's look at this.
For navigation. Well, most of the time, I, of course, bring a map. There's no map in there because we're not hiking at the moment, but I bring a map, of course, of the environment, and I bring a map, a case, which I can, of course, wear around my neck and shoulder, like this. A compass, essential. Make sure the compass works in your region. So if you go to the southern hemisphere, take a different compass than you would use on the northern hemisphere. Compass, essential. GPS. I have this. It's kind of old-fashioned GPS, but it works really well. Although nowadays I work a lot with my mobile phone, and the app I use, I like it a lot. It's called Guru Maps. There are millions.
Google Maps?
No, Guru. G-U, Golf Uniform, Romeo Uniform Maps. Guru Maps.
All right.
Yeah, it's nice. But if you work with your mobile phone, make sure you bring a power bank as well. In Garmin InReach for communication and at least for tracking. So Basecamp and my wife knows where we are.
But not everyone wants their wife to know where they are.
No, well then you don't give the address of your.
Just don't take it to the pub with you.
No. Satellite phone. I always bring a satellite phone. Just no. Most of the time I just use it to call home to say that everything is okay. But bring a satellite phone.
And I know in a couple of times in your career you've had to use that for real medical emergencies to get help, haven't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I once broke my ankle myself, so I had to take out the satellite phone.
I didn't know that.
No, you know that now. Just broke my ankle on Greenland on my my second expedition. So I had to call for medical emergency myself, and then after 12 hours a helicopter came in. If you can't call anymore, then there's always an emergency button on your Garmin InReach. But what I don't like about the emergency button is if this is the only way of communication, the only thing the emergency services see is the emergency button has been pushed, and if there's no way of communicating with you, they might go out with a helicopter immediately. While when I have a broken ankle, there's no need to go out immediately. I'm not dying at the moment. Of course, it's not nice to be there.
But you can SMS over that though, can't
you? Yeah, you do. So make sure you know how to hook it up to your phone and how it works, and do like 1 or 2 test messages, and then it works perfectly fine.
But certainly, you know, when the SH hits the fan, the best way is on a phone, isn't it?
Definitely, because 100%. then you can explain what's going on. So when I had my ankle broken on Greenland, I just called the rescue services and said, well, this is going on, this is what happened, what should I do next? And then they explained to me what to do next, but at least we could communicate, which is fun. In some countries you need this as well, which is a PLB, a personal locator beacon. I'll just take it out of the pouch to show it. The pouch is just for protection, but this is the PLB, and how it works is drag out the antenna and you push the red button, and then it will just send out a message saying, help, I need rescue, and this is my location. That's the only thing it does. So this is like a last resort, but for some expeditions this is what you need before you get a permit. For example,
I remember
Greenland.
I remember when we were filming you on Greenland, the police came to our accommodation, the Danish police, to check that you had a PLB, didn't they?
Yes, yeah. And that was a while ago, so that PLB was really big, and nowadays they can be smaller like this.
PLB, personal
locator beacon. It needs registration, so I registered this one in the United States. So if somebody pushes the button, it's connected to this unique PLB, and the rescue services will call whoever whoever number is the Basecamp manager, and they ask the Basecamp manager, well, do you know anything more about the situation? And if the Basecamp manager doesn't know anything more, they'll send out the helicopter or
whatever's needed.
A Mariphone for communication with a helicopter, and most of the time I also bring a portaphone, like the Motorola, just the one you buy in a hardware store,
like a walkie-talkie.
Like a walkie-talkie, just for communication between teams. So if you have multiple tents, you can give a walkie-talkie to each tent, and then during a blizzard you don't have to get out.
Yes, that's good. That's good advice. Yeah.
And don't have the walkie-talkie on 24/7. Just say, okay, every hour you just have it on for 2 minutes, because then at the hour we can communicate. Otherwise, it will just drain the battery.
Yeah.
Well, next to it is my little pouch with a notebook and a pen, and for me some protocols, important phone numbers, a protocol of when can we still go and when is it not appropriate to leave camp, like when it's really cold or when it's really windy. So these are just protocols I use. Hypothermia guide, what to do and how to prevent hypothermia, and other treatments which hopefully I never need, but if I do need them, they come in handy. So I have these protocols close by.
Oh, that's really good. I mean, I know you've done lots of training and you've done advanced sort of wilderness medicine, and you're also an ex-military as well, Dutch Marines. But having those protocol cards when you're under stress is a really good reference to go, let me just check myself.
Yeah, definitely. And especially the phone numbers. Those phone numbers are also programmed in my Iridium phone. But I don't know, maybe something goes wrong. I just need those phone numbers. And it's just like 5 grams. It's really handy. Shall we talk a bit about the kitchen?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, I'll just make some space.
Okay, you do that. I'm just going to check something. So we've just had a little tidy up, and I see you have a very nice IKEA shopping bag on the table. What's in there, Henk-Jan?
Well, actually, I have been shopping at IKEA. Now, definitely, because what's in there is all the stuff I need for my kitchen. And that's not too much because there's not really French cooking, it's just melting snow. But I do have my thermos bottle in there. And this one, actually, it comes from IKEA. They don't make these anymore. But if you shop around for a thermos bottle, just shop around. Don't go to the most expensive brand, although I know that Stanley is a really good brand, but this one costed me like 10 euros. It's perfectly fine. What I want to tell about...
Yeah, what have you done to it? You've kind of...
Well, I wrapped it around in tape, so when I grab it with my bare hands, it won't get too cold. I wrote my name on it somewhere, so when I'm in a tent with more participants, at least I know this is my thermos bottle. Of course, I put a sticker on it, and it's tea. So I know I put tea in this thermos bottle. I bring 2 thermos bottles of 1 liter each. One is for tea and one is for plain water. But what I think is important with a thermos bottle is this part.
The lid.
The lid. It should be a lid like this. You have those lids which you can click open and close. The bad thing with those is that if you click them open, you pour out water, you close them, there will always be a little bit of water in between, which will freeze, and it will, at the end of the day, this will break. And this lid, it just consists of 2 parts, a piece of rubber and a piece of plastic that will last. So this won't break as easily in the Arctic.
I suppose because you've been on so many expeditions, and of course now you have a trekking company, that all these little things that have gone wrong in the past, you've just learned from it and just adapted and adapted and adapted.
Yeah, or think ahead with, well, at least with those lids, they were always annoying. Of course, it's nice and handy in the office, but the Arctic, it's a different kind of office, you know. So let's get into the kitchen.
IKEA bag.
Yeah, the IKEA bag. First of all, wooden plate, and on this wooden plate I'll put my stove. The reason for the wooden plate is that if you lit the stove in snow, it gets warm, it just melts into the snow. So this will prevent the stove from melting into the snow. I use a stove from the brand MSR, which runs on fuel. And the good thing with fuel is it can also burn when it's colder. You have different stoves of MSR. I use the Whisperlite stove mostly. I also have the XGK stove, which is a different model, but that just makes a lot of noise, a little bit more power, but it's not that, well, a social stove, because if the stove is on, that's the only thing you hear. Remember that for MSR, this part here, I'll just open it up. The pump, this is the Arctic pump, and you see this because there's a blue top. This pump works really well when it's minus degrees. So if it's below 0, this pump really works well. If you just go out winter camping for once, just use a regular pump. But if it's going to be your work, change the pump to an Arctic pump. It will not work that good in plus degrees, but when it's freezing, this pump will work.
I didn't know that. That's really interesting advice. But even if you're doing something, I mean, we don't get the cold winters that we used to, but even something in Scotland in winter, you know, can be well below 0.
Yeah, definitely bring them. So most of the time I have more stoves, depending on how many participants I have, and then a big pot. In the pot I will melt some snow.
Not yellow snow?
No, preferably not. And when that is melted, I'll just pour it into this kettle, which will stay on another stove. And from the kettle, because there's a small mouth, I can pour it easily into this into the thermos bottle. When sleeping, I use a bigger Nalgene. I'll fill it up with hot water, so you have a in Dutch we say kruik. Do you know what I mean when I say
hot
kruik?
water bottle?
Is it really a hot water bottle? That's not sophisticated. Anyway, it's a hot water bottle. Yeah. So fill it up with hot water. Make sure to put it in a sock or into some clothing. Don't put it on your skin directly. It will give you burns. But the good thing with this system is that in the morning you have at least half of 1 liter of warm, lukewarm water. Make sure you have 2 thermos bottles of hot water during the evening. So in the morning when you make breakfast, you take hot water out of one of your thermos bottles. You drink coffee, you drink tea out of your thermos bottle. You just need to reheat this water and pour it into the thermos bottle. It saves you a lot of time because while cooking, most of the time goes into melting the snow. So I have a fire blanket. If something goes wrong with the stove, we just throw over a fire blanket. And then, of course, there's the IKEA bag itself, which I will fill up completely.
I knew you were going to say that. That's a. I remember you filling the IKEA bag with chunks of snow.
So with the shovel, just shovel in a lot of snow. I have 2 IKEA bags with me. One goes inside it and one goes just next to the entrance. So after 1 or 2 hours, we exchange the bags with a full bag and somebody else goes out if needed to fill up.
Yeah, because I guess you need a lot of snow to make a liter of fluid, don't you?
You do. You need, I think, about 5-6 liters of snow to make 1 liter of water, depending, of course, on the density of the snow and how cold the snow is. If it's really fluffy snow, you need even more. Yeah, welcome in the Arctic. This one, it's also from IKEA. And it's a thermos mug. I drink my coffee, my tea, I make my breakfast in there. And the good thing with this is I also put some tape on it. You can close it, put it away and do something else in the meantime, and your food will stay warm or your drinks will stay warm. Other stuff which you need or which I bring. A funnel for filling up this bottle. A mug. I use this mug for my for the snow, to take it out of this bag and put it in to the pot. Of course, a lighter, but that's really not handy when it's cold because your fingers getting cold. So I always bring like
fire stick. They always work, and they work when they're wet as well.
They work. They're
amazing.
They're brilliant. You can buy them for a couple of euros. They're really nice.
Yeah.
This one for making the soup. This one for dispensing the soup, and a reflector shield. The top of this one, and
what's that?
A CO meter.
Oh.
Put it inside the tent, and especially when you're cooking in a hut, when it's closed, make sure you bring one of these. So to prevent carbon monoxide, it's called. Yeah, carbon monoxide.
That is really interesting, Henk-Jan. Thank you. And I bet people watching this, obviously, if they've got this far in the video, it's because they're interested in doing a real Arctic adventure. But not many people would think of a carbon monoxide alarm.
No.
And when you think about it, you're burning petrol, all the fumes in a tent or a hut or a snow hole even perhaps.
Yeah.
There's a lot of monoxide being released, and having that, and also the fire blanket.
It's prevention. The fire blanket, and actually the only thing I can use it for is extinguishing a fire. So it's single use. That's pretty pity. And this one I always take it with me now because I did have an accident with carbon monoxide, not lethal accident, but it was not nice. So I also learned from my mistakes, and I do make mistakes, definitely, but it doesn't prevent me from going out again. But yeah, sure, bring something like this and ventilate. If I cook inside the tent, I never cook inside the tent. I always cook in the vestibule, so in the front part of the tent, and I always leave my zipper open.
For sure.
Yes, it's cold, but I need the fresh air to get in there.
Yeah, but you should never cook inside the tent anyway.
I mean, I never do.
That's common
I know
sense,
persons who do, but
yeah.
I never do, especially not with clients. No, it's not worth the risk.
No.
So this is actually what I bring for cooking, and of course, depending on the amount of persons, we bring more stoves.
So we've tidied away all of your cooking stuff back in your IKEA bag, and now you're going to show us basically your shelter, your tent system.
Yes.
So what's on the table now, Henk-Jan?
Well, I got a Hilleberg tent, which is one of the tents I can bring. I always, mainly I work with Hilleberg because it's just a great tent. There are multiple brands making great tents, but make sure you have the tent which you like. Yeah. So this one I bring, a 4-person emergency shelter. So even if I go out with 8 persons, I just bring one 4-person emergency shelter, because if there is an emergency, a few persons can sit in there and the rest can set up the tent. You don't need more than one.
No.
So inside the tent, you want to prevent snow from getting in the tent. So I bring a brush to brush off your shoes, to brush off your trousers. Just a regular brush. Just buy it in any convenience store. You can buy a brush, but make sure it's hard. It's not fluffy. It's hard because you really need to brush hard to get away all the snow. When you wake up in the morning, if you didn't ventilate enough in the tent, there will be ice on the inside of the tent. So with a small cloth like this, you can take away the ice. Still laying in my sleeping bag, take away as much ice as possible, and the moment you open up your sleeping bag, heat will get out, the ice will melt if you didn't take it away, and you just have a shower with cold shower. So bring a small cloth. Once you took away the ice, make sure to how do you call this?
Shake it.
To shake it off. Shake it, sure. And then make sure it dries. So put it outside on top of your sledge during the day in the sun.
Yep.
Always nice to know the temperature. So I bring this to have a look at the temperature inside the tent. These are the tent packs. There are different than normal tent packs, which you probably would get with a tent like this. And I use them quite often.
Snow stakes.
Snow stakes, yeah. And if you buy them, sometimes they come with a cord and a carabiner. I always take these off. It's just extra weight and I don't use them. But the snow stake, if that's the tent, just put the snow stake on an angle inside the snow. If the snow is really hard enough, just put it all the way in. If the snow is not that hard, make a T. So put your, if this is, for example, the part of the tent, so this is the tent line, just put the snow stake in the snow like this. If the snow is really hard, just bring a small hammer to hammer the stakes into the ice. And if I go to Greenland, at least I bring a saw, because the snow there is so hard. With this I can saw blocks of ice, which I would take away from the inside part of my tent, so actually the kitchen area. And the good thing is with that is that I can sit with my feet down inside the kitchen area if I take away some snow. So it's just like sitting on a chair.
And the cold air also sinks into that, doesn't it? A little bit.
But I'd rather invest in a good sleeping bag than in the knowledge that cold air will sink into that little hole. But
at least then you're. But also, I guess with that hole, it's a comfortable seating position, isn't it?
Preferably comfortable seating position. Yes, it is a little bit colder than up, but mainly I do this because of my seating position, and I bring a small lamp. It's nice to have a lamp hanging in the tent, so you don't always have to work with your head torch.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, we're nearly done.
We're nearly done. Rest. is a repair kit with actually anything which can go wrong can be repaired with all the stuff I've got in here.
Yeah, we won't go through all of it,
no.
but obviously it's all bits, buckles, straps, bits of pole, all kinds of things, useful things.
It's all kinds of things, and I think the most important thing is bring a piece of rope. Because with rope you can repair a lot of stuff, and go through all your kit and think, okay, what could go wrong, what could break down, and how can I repair it in the field? And with this I can repair anything which can go wrong. Super glue is also really handy. I got it over there.
Yeah, fantastic.
So, and besides that, of course, I got a first aid kit.
We'll just move over there.
Of course, I got a first aid kit. I got medicines, but first you have to contact your doctor before using the medicines. I'm not allowed to prescribe or to give anybody any medicine, but I do bring it.
And what I find funny is obviously you're Dutch, if
Yes.
viewers haven't worked that one out yet, but you did your advanced medical training in Wales recently, didn't you? Plessy Brennan.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think it's nice to meet international colleagues, to meet other guides, and it's just a really great place to be, and the course is really good. So, yeah, that's why I did it in Plessy Brennan. So, the medical stuff, I do bring a throwing line if we are crossing bodies of, well, ice, not water, but ice. I do bring a throw line. If somebody goes through the ice, I can throw a line to him or her, or if I go into the ice myself, I can throw to the rest of the party. This is my personal small kit which I bring, and of course a long rope on the zipper. My spoon is in there, a long spoon to reach all the way down into my bags of food.
Yeah.
A toothbrush is in there, a head torch, toilet paper. Never leave home without
Pretty
it.
essential stuff.
And what I always like to bring is earplugs, especially when I'm with other persons who are snoring.
I have an allergy towards snoring, so
Yeah.
so I would be 1 kilometre away.
Yeah, well, I will be next to you, but I'm wearing my earplugs.
And I guess the last thing is skis.
Yeah.
And then we're done on this amazing journey that you've taken me on.
Yeah. Well, actually, for today I brought 3 pairs of skis, 3 different skis, because I want to show you the difference between, well, the most common skis. I got them here. I'll put them on the table for you.
Okay.
One is already laying there. So this one, and this one. And what I got here is a Langlauf ski, an alpine downhill ski, and a backcountry ski. And what I always say to my clients is, what's the difference is, a Langlauf ski is 2 fingers wide, which actually it does match. It's just 2 fingers wide, which you use for during Langlauf, like they do on the Olympics. You have a prepared track, and there you use 2 finger wide skis. What we use are skis, they are 3 fingers wide. They are backcountry skis, and look at this. It works perfectly well.
They really are, aren't they?
The main difference is that steel edges, as where with Langlauf skis there are no steel edges. There's crown, so something to keep traction on the snow. And the third skis are downhill skis, so instead of 3 fingers, we're now coming up to 4 fingers. And look at this, it matches perfectly fine. These are the downhill skis, also steel edges. So these are the difference in skis. And when I come back to those backcountry skis, the skis which I use, the bindings, they open up here in the front. So if you put your shoe in there, there's a metal pin which just fits in there. Just got connected. So this way you are connected to your ski with only your toe. So it's not for downhill skiing, it's for backcountry skiing. And the only thing you need to do when skiing is just move 1 foot to the front, and then the next feet move it to the front. So It's easy as that. So I think if you can, well, walk slowly like this towards your fridge to get a beer, you have the potential
of being an Arctic explorer.
Of being an Arctic explorer and crossing Greenland.
Well, I'm sure many Arctic explorers are used to going to the fridge to get beers.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And the last thing is your poles.
Last thing is my poles. If you're getting regular walking poles, make sure you have a big basket on the bottom. Otherwise, it will just sink into the snow. The length of your pole, I like them to be this long, so almost halfway my elbow. Not too long, like with real Olympic skiing, langlauf skiing. A little bit smaller. Make sure this strap, your hand can go through it with your gloves on. And I like to grab my pole like this. So I don't like to do it like this, because it will just put tension on this part of my hand and it will block the blood flow. But when I do it like this, my wrist just hangs in there, and I don't grab my pole like this. I just gently hold it like this, so the blood just goes through my fingers. It just keeps on flowing, keeps my fingers warm, and this is how I hold my ski pole.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you something, Henk-Jan, and what's quite interesting from my point of view, in pretty much a month's time, I'm going to be filming, as you know, an amazing expedition called Beyond Ordinary, which is organised by your good self, by Arctic Adventure, where I'm going to be following 2 Paralympic disabled athletes in wheelchairs crossing Hardangervidda. And I'm going to be making that film, which will be a film on my YouTube channel, as well as Mountain Film Festivals. And I'll be there as an embedded shooting director, producer, making the film as we said. But I've also got to live and survive and thrive in that Arctic adventure, in that Arctic environment rather. And all these tips and tricks that you've given me are so useful.
You're welcome.
So useful. Yeah. Even things like the brush, you know, to take off the snow off your clothes, and the cloth just to remove all the frozen particles of ice. These little bits of detail that if you don't do, it's just going to make your trip that little bit more harder, that little bit more miserable, you know. These little things, these little simple things that you can do can make your adventure so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely.
And so much more fun.
I hear a lot of stories about adventures, going out for an adventure, and they come back with those incredible stories. And every time they say, "Wow, it was really hard. It was really, we really did suffer." I'm thinking to myself, so what did you do wrong? Because it doesn't have to be hard. Of course, when it's storm and when it's nasty weather, definitely it can be hard. But most of the time it's a beautiful environment with the right equipment and with the right knowledge. You can enjoy it, definitely. Yeah,
well, thank you so much for taking time out to make this video. I appreciate it's quite a long video, but at the end of the day, if you're going to go on a real Arctic adventure, then you need to invest in knowing about the right type of equipment, the right type of clothing, and obviously this video can be of great use. And obviously people can always contact you at arcticadventure.nl.
Yeah,
arcticadventure.nl, and they can arrange a trip with you.
Yeah, we have different kind of tips, from starters, intermediate to crossing Greenland. So anybody who's watching this video thinks, hey, could be cool, let's see, go to arcticadventure.nl and check out all the trips we do. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Henk-Jan. I'm going to let you pack this all away. Yeah, thank you. And I'm going to go and get a coffee. Good. But thank you very much. On to our next adventure. Arctic adventure. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. And that, I think, is a wrap. It is.